Hey, thanks, Glenn. Morning, Brad. Um, excuse me. Did you see any sort of after effect or afterglow today with your players after a win, a badly needed win? Does that give you an extra bounce in your step a day after in your practice?
Winning always helps. We know that, especially going into a day off. So, yeah, there's some few more smiles, but they put the work in today at practice. That's the main thing. You can't rest on one win here. We gotta string something together here. We got a tough team coming in Chicago, so that was a good practice, and everyone's in a positive mood mindset, which is good for going in tomorrow.
Yeah, and of course, this will be the first time you've played Chicago since the big trade last summer. I wonder if you can evaluate some of the pieces from that. In one aspect, Werenski's job with you elevated. He's now your go-to Mr. Everything on the back end. What has his play like been for you in that capacity? It's something he's been looking forward to, I know. What have you thought of him the first few months of the season?
Well, I think, it's not that it's been a big adjustment. He certainly was playing big minutes before that, but I think the biggest adjustment is not having a familiar D partner in Jonesy. So, he's been with a bulk of it with Beener, and it could change from a nightly basis here. But I think, he got a letter on his shoulder. I think he's taken more responsibility, both ends of the ice, and he's still figuring out, the kind of when to go, when not to go, time and score, and he's like a race car, right? He wants to get up that ice, and it's with the minutes he plays, and sometimes in those one-goal games he's got to maybe pull back a bit, but certainly I think he's a good indicator is when we didn't have him there a couple games, and last game, what a huge difference that makes for our lineup right away. You see it. So, it's he's obviously a huge piece for us. I think he's done a good job. I think he's only going to get better.
Yeah, and Boqvist is a guy he's been a familiar name now for a few seasons. He's still only 21 years old. How much growth is in his game? How much have you seen from the start of this season, and how much is still yet to achieve from him as an all-round defenseman?
Yeah, I think there's a ton of room to grow, and that's not a negative thing. I think that's a positive thing. He's got some experience in the league. He's got a incredible skill set with the puck, poise. He's got a shot. He's got an active finish around the net, which is, we've seen that here. As an undersized guy, we know he's going to have to defend, and if you want a top four role, you got to make sure that part of your game is tight. And I think there's a lot of room for growth there. Again, it's not a knock on him. It's just he's a young man still, and he's had an offensive game his whole life, and you're learning at this level, especially when you get an elevated role, how hard it is. You're playing those top lines every night, and a lot of this will come in the summer too, from conditioning and strengthening, and then understanding what it's going to take. So there's certainly strides there. We've had plenty of conversation with him and what we're looking for from him. And he's trying to do it. He's trying to do it every night. So, real effective player when he's on his game, and I think there's still tons of room for him to improve, and which is the exciting part.
And it's not obviously Jones is the only change from last year. Foligno, Savard also gone. Some prominent voices out of there. How would you evaluate the room 3 months in? Just sort of how things have sort of readjusted or fit back together in a different way with those three prominent voices out, Jones among them.
Yeah, there was a big change. You throw Cam in that mix too, right? He was here for a long time.
Yeah, sure.
So, we talked about the leadership group and the change of that, and then some new faces and different dynamics, what that would look like. I think they're still finding their way too a little bit, and who's going to be that secondary leadership too. Because all those guys we elevated was a secondary leadership that were looking to make that next jump. So, we had a good start, and then had a tough stretch there for a while, playing some really good teams, and you could see it. Whether it was a youth, whether it was fatigue, whether it was just the grind of the NHL, I'm not sure. Maybe a combination of all those things, and the quality opponent. We're facing some really good teams. You could see that they're trying to find their way, and again, there's no life preserver getting thrown to you. You got to go in there and you got to earn it. You got to win those games, and this is the process that we're in right now. And I think our guys are doing a good job of leading it. They're digging in here, and we've asked more from practice. They're giving more, and hopefully that carries into games and starts translating into a few more wins here.
Okay. Next we'll go to Tracy Myers from NHL.com. Go ahead, Tracy.
Tracy, you there?
Hi, sorry, my computer froze up for a second. Thank you for doing this. Just wanted to ask you about Seth. What's it going to be like for you to see him again and what he meant to that team, for your team for the last couple of years? Thank you.
Yeah, a huge part of our team. I don't think anybody can question that, what he brought to our club and the trade there from Nashville coming over, and we sent a good player over to there. So, he came in, and I think hungry to take a bigger role. I know in Nashville he didn't have the prominent role yet. They had a pretty good decor, and he came in, and I think by the end of that first year, he understood it was going to be a lot more put on his plate there, and I thought he came in, especially that second year after the trade, he was really focused, and he just kind of grew and grew every year. I think his ability to defend, his competitiveness, I think that's the biggest thing that really impressed me about him is I really thought early on when he first got here there was some inconsistency, and I think that was just the fact of taking a bigger role and what that looks like, sometimes some slow starts. I thought by year 2, and from that point on, he was focused, dialed in, and ready to go pretty much every game, and sure, we have some ups and downs, but he really took a lot of pride in being a hard 200-foot defender. He's got legs that he can skate up and down the ice, but his ability to defend was really what I thought separated him and should be, put in that conversation of Norris Trophy because of how well he plays on that side of the puck. He's a great young man. Seth Jones is as classy as they come. Great individual. He was a great teammate, great guy to coach, and it seems like he's having a good year there in Chicago now. So happy for him and happy for us.
Next, we'll go to Dave Metzel. Go ahead, Dave.
Thanks, Glenn. Hi, Brad. I don't want to jinx things here, but it seems like you have. Sorry, man. It seems like you've returned to a little bit of normalcy now after all the disruptions of December, games disrupted, not knowing who's going to be there, who's not going to be there. How much has a return to somewhat of a routine helped you guys get back on the path that you want to be back on in terms of preparing each day and getting ready for games?
Yeah, well, we'll see. I don't know what normalcy is anymore. I don't think anybody does as far as what we have to deal with. We're still testing every day, so tomorrow might look different. I don't even talk about lineup now until the next day just because of the obvious. So, guys are trickling back. We're getting a few more practices, and hopefully that translates into a little bit more consistency in lineups and efforts and all the things that we're trying to get to a better level at. So. We'll see. I'm hoping here that we're through the worst of it and things can be a little smoother as we go forward.
Does it feel like you've returned to a little bit of a routine though, Brad?
Well, we've got some practices, Dave. That's the biggest thing is when we were on that last swing there before we got shut down, gosh, we were everywhere. Traveling, and then, there's a lot of days there where you don't practice because you're traveling those days. You get back, you need another day off just to recover and doing morning skates to try and get your legs again. So I think the practice time helps for sure. Just trying to nail some things down and get some guys some reps in different areas. So I guess normalcy, we'll go with that for now, and we'll see where it goes.
Thanks, Brad.
We'll go to Brian Hedger. Go ahead, Brian.
Hey, Brad. I know how much you guys love as coaches the word potential. Not much, probably. You like some more reality. But when you look back at that trade last summer for Seth, I mean, you guys got quite a few pieces in that deal. When you look at two young NHL defensemen, Sillinger ends up being in there, and then you still have another pick to make this next year. How key could that deal potentially be going forward for this franchise, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we all knew the situation, and, I thought Yarmo and JD and everybody up there, I thought they did an incredible job of handling that and what we got in return. And, we're giving up a really good player, and he was a guy that, he knew how much we relied on him. So, I don't think you can evaluate this trade yet. I think you wait probably 2, 3, 4 years down the road here, and we got some good players from there, and it's like you said, there's still another pick to come here. So, You know, they got a real good player in Seth Jones. We know that. And we got some real good pieces coming our way. And like I said, I think I'm going to pause on the trade evaluation yet. I'm going to wait here, I think, like most people should in maybe 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. You know, getting back to what you mentioned about Seth being a good guy, good teammate type of thing. You know, he obviously didn't drag that situation on. I mean, he basically let the team know pretty early on that he was looking to maybe move on. You could argue that, you know, by doing that helped facilitate that trade. I mean, does that kind of keeping with his character? He just makes decisions and you're going to know either way.
Yeah, guys have choices, you know, and whether we like them or not, or we agree with them or not, they have choices. And that was a choice he made, and I agree with you. I think he handled it very well. I think he was upfront and honest and didn't want to, you know, play any games. He was very forthright. And again, as hard as it is to hear, you know, you have to move forward, and we did. And I thought they did a great job. I thought both sides handled it very well. In that process, and you know, now we're where we're at, and again, we're excited about the players that we got and the pieces that we got, and I'm sure Seth's excited to be in Chicago.
Thank you.
Okay, we got time for a few more. We'll go to Ben Pope. Go ahead, Ben.
Hi, Brad. It's also the first game between these two teams since the last one last year when Murphy and Domi had that kind of fight. I know Domi said afterwards he'd had a long memory about it. Do you foresee that being something that comes up tomorrow? Is that something you would have talked to him about or something?
Nope, I don't. I mean, I didn't remember it. I don't think it was that big a deal, to be honest with you. Yeah, so no. The short answer is no. I don't think it's going to be an issue tomorrow.
All right, fair enough. Thank you.
Okay, we'll close up with Jeff Svoboda. Go ahead, Jeff.
Thank you. Just a quick one. Gus was not there today. Do you have an update on his status?
Yeah, just maintenance day, and see how he's feeling tomorrow.
All right. Excellent. Thank you.
All right.
Good.